Pizza delivery teaches you a special kind of fear. Not jump scare fear, not monster fear. The quiet kind. The kind that comes from standing alone on a stranger's porch at midnight, holding hot food while the house breathes around you. The kind that makes you listen to doors before they open. The kind that makes you count windows without realizing you're doing it. That's why I love no-contact drop-offs. You leave the pizza, you walk away. No faces, no voices, no guessing who's on the other side of the door. Except for one address. It's on the edge of my delivery zone, past the last streetlight, where houses stop looking lived in and start looking kept. Lawn always trimmed, porch light always on, no cars in the driveway. Ever. The order is always the same. Large pepperoni, thin crust, extra napkins. Paid online, tip marked as cash under mat. The first time I delivered there, I thought it was generous. The second time, I thought it was weird. By the fifth time, I started feeling sick before I even turned onto the street. Because the receipt always said, "Thank you, my name." That wouldn't be strange, except drivers at my chain don't use real names. The app lets you pick anything. Most people use nicknames. Some use joke names. One guy goes by Batman. I switch mine constantly. Different shift, different name. I do it on purpose. But this house, it always thanks me by my real name. The first time I assumed it was a glitch. The second time I checked the app twice before getting out of the car. The third time I used a fake name I'd never used before. When I lifted the doormat, the envelope was there. Neatly folded bills, exact change plus tip, and written on the inside of the receipt in careful handwriting, "Drive safe, Aaron." I stood on that porch for a full 30 seconds longer than I should have, not because I wanted to, because something in me needed to hear a door open, needed proof there was a person inside. The door never opened. I started doing what every delivery driver does when something feels off. I adjusted routines. I parked farther away. I didn't linger. I stopped reading the receipt until I was back in my car. That worked. For a while. Then, the notes changed. Nothing obvious, nothing dramatic, just personal. "Hope your car is still making that clicking noise." It was. I hadn't told anyone. "You've been working late this week." True. Picked up extra shifts. "Different jacket tonight. Looks warmer." I froze on the porch when I read that one. I started checking windows before walking up. No movement, no silhouettes, no reflections. Just the porch light humming softly like it always did. Last week, I started locking my bedroom door. Not because I thought someone was in my apartment, because it felt wrong not to. Like leaving it unlocked was an invitation I didn't remember sending. Tonight, I got the order again. Same pizza, same address. My stomach dropped the moment it popped up on the screen. I almost declined it, but drivers don't decline without consequences, and fear doesn't pay rent. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself this was just another quiet house with too much time on its hands. When I arrived, the porch light was already on. The doormat was perfectly straight. The envelope was thicker than usual. Inside the bills was a note this time, not on the receipt, on its own piece of paper, folded carefully. I unfolded it with shaking fingers. It said, "Why have you been locking your bedroom door lately?" I didn't hear the door open. I didn't hear footsteps, but behind me, somewhere in the dark yard, something shifted its weight, and I realized the worst part of delivery work isn't walking up to strangers' houses at night. It's knowing exactly where you live and realizing someone else does too. I didn't look back. Every instinct in my body was screaming to turn around to confirm that whatever shifted in the yard wasn't real. But delivery drivers learn fast that looking is how you escalate things. So I walked. Not fast, not slow. Normal. I got in my car, locked the doors, and sat there with the engine off, listening to my own breathing echo in the cab. Nothing followed me. No footsteps, no voice. The house stayed exactly the same. Porch light on, door closed, windows dark. That should have made me feel better. It didn't. Because when I pulled away, my rearview mirror caught something I hadn't noticed before. A second light. Not inside the house. Behind it. A faint glow in the backyard. Like a room with the lights on, but no windows facing the street. I didn't go back there. I'm not stupid. I drove. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound in my apartment felt louder. Pipes ticking, fridge humming, footsteps from neighbors above me that suddenly felt too deliberate. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. I jolted so hard I almost knocked it off the bed. A notification from the delivery app. New message from customer. That's not supposed to happen. Customers can't message drivers after a delivery is completed. The system locks the order. The message contained one line. You forgot your napkins. My blood went cold. I had forgotten them. I remembered it clearly, realizing halfway down the walkway that I'd left them in the car, deciding not to go back because I didn't want to linger. I opened the app. The message disappeared. No order history, no chat log, nothing. Just my dashboard blinking like nothing had happened. I checked my locks again. Bedroom door locked. Front door locked. Deadbolt engaged. I lay there staring at the ceiling until sunrise. The next shift, I told my manager I didn't want deliveries past midnight. He laughed. Rough night? Something like that. He shrugged. We are short-staffed. You can swap with someone, but that address still needs coverage. My stomach tightened. What address? He named it. I swallowed. Has anyone else delivered there? He paused. Yeah. And? He scratched his neck. They don't complain, they tip well, just kind of freak some people out. How? He shrugged again. They say the house feels occupied even when no one answers. Occupied. That word stuck with me. That night, I swapped routes with another driver. Different side of town, different streets. I didn't get the order. I relaxed for the first time in days, until the end of my shift. I was cleaning out my car when I found an envelope tucked under my windshield wiper. No logo, no stamp, no indication how long it had been there. Inside was a $10 bill, folded around a note. You drive a different route now. My hands started shaking. I looked around the parking lot. Empty. I got in my car and drove straight home. When I reached my apartment, something was wrong immediately. My bedroom light was on. I never leave it on. I stood in the doorway, heart pounding, listening. No movement, no sound. I stepped inside slowly, checking every room. Nothing was disturbed. Nothing was missing. On my bed, neatly centered on the blanket, sat a small stack of white napkins, pizza chain napkins, folded the same way they come in the store. On top of them was a receipt, not printed, handwritten. My name at the top. Under it, one sentence. No contact doesn't mean no one came inside. I backed out of the apartment and didn't stop moving until I reached my car. As I drove away, my phone buzzed. One final message from an unknown number. You should really start locking your car, too. And that's when I realized something worse than being watched during deliveries. Someone had learned my routine. And delivery work teaches you this better than most jobs. If someone knows your route, your hours, and where you sleep, they don't need to knock. I didn't go back to my apartment that night. I drove until my hands stopped shaking and parked outside a 24-hour grocery store, sitting under a buzzing streetlight that made everything feel barely real. I slept in my car with the doors locked and the seat reclined, keys clenched in my fist like that would matter. When the sun came up, I went straight to a hardware store and bought cameras. Cheap ones, motion activated, night vision. The kind every delivery driver eventually buys after one too many sketchy drop-offs. I installed them everywhere. Front door, back window, living room, bedroom. I triple-checked the angles. No blind spots, no excuses. Then I went to work. I didn't tell anyone why I looked like hell. Pizza places are full of people who don't ask questions. We all have reasons. I avoided the edge of town route. The order didn't come in. That scared me more than if it had. I checked the cameras obsessively all night. Nothing. No movement, no shadows, no glitches. At 2:13, all feeds were still. At 2:14, still. At 2:15, the bedroom camera flickered, just for a frame. When it came back, the angle was the same, but something felt off, like the room had been reset slightly. I rewound, frame by frame. At 2:12, I was asleep in the bed. At 2:13, the bed was empty, not disturbed, not rumpled, empty like no one had ever been there. At 2:14, I appeared in frame, standing, fully dressed, shoes on. I stared at the screen, bile rising in my throat. The version of me on the footage wasn't sleepy, wasn't groggy, didn't stretch or yawn. It just stood there, facing the door. Then it checked the lock, unlocked it, and walked out of frame. The timestamp kept rolling. At 2:17, the front door camera showed me leaving the apartment. Calm, unhurried. I even locked the door behind me. I scrubbed forward. At 3:01, I came back. Same clothes, same posture. I unlocked the door, entered, went straight to the bedroom. At 3:03, I lay down. At 3:04, the bed shifted. At 3:05, I was asleep again. No jump cut, no distortion, just a routine. I threw up in the sink. The next clip autoplayed. Different night, same time, same pattern. I wasn't being broken into. I was being borrowed. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You don't remember the easiest parts. I felt ice spread through my chest. What do you want from me? I typed. The reply came immediately. Consistency. Another message followed. You already deliver yourself most nights. The pizza is just an excuse to watch. I thought about the house, the porch light, the perfect timing, the notes that knew when I changed routines. You're not a house, I whispered aloud. The phone buzzed again. No, I'm a stop. My camera feed refreshed. The bedroom cam showed me sitting up, but I was still holding my phone in the kitchen. I watched myself on the screen turn its head slightly, not enough to look at the camera, enough to listen. My phone vibrated in my hand. One final message. You should stop fighting this. You're already very good at late-night deliveries. The bedroom camera showed my face break into a small, familiar smile. The kind you give customers when you're tired but polite. The kind I didn't realize I'd perfected. And somewhere deep in my body, beneath the fear, beneath the panic, I felt it. That sense of autopilot, of muscle memory, of walking up to doors at night without thinking. I unplugged the cameras, every single one. Not because I wanted to stop it, because I was suddenly afraid of what I'd see next. And when my phone buzzed again, face down on the counter, I didn't check it. I already knew what it would say. Because tomorrow night, I'm scheduled again. And the house always tips in cash. I quit the job the next morning, didn't give notice, didn't explain, just dropped my insulated bag on the counter and walked out while my manager was mid-sentence about weekend coverage. He didn't stop me. He just said, "Yeah, I figured." That should have scared me more than it did. I spent the rest of the day doing everything you're supposed to do when you're trying to feel in control. Changed my locks, deleted the delivery app, turned my phone off for 3 hours straight. I told myself, no routes, no schedule, no routine. That night, I stayed awake. Not caffeine awake, fear awake. I sat on my couch with the lights on, TV playing quietly, shoes still on like I might need to leave fast. Midnight came and went, then 1 a.m., then 2. At 2:11 a.m., my phone turned itself on. The screen lit up. One notification. No app icon, just text. You're off the clock now. That's okay. I still need you. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't breathe. Another message appeared. You always pause here, right before you open the door. The front door handle rattled. Once. Softly. Like someone testing whether it was locked. I grabbed the baseball bat I keep by the couch and stood up, heart pounding so hard it made me dizzy. Get the hell away from my door, I shouted. Silence. Then my phone buzzed again. You never say that on deliveries. You're very polite. I backed toward the hallway, keeping my eyes on the door. The handle rattled again. This time, slower, deliberate. I watched you learn that, watched you perfect it, watched you smile even when you were scared. I realized something then, something that made my stomach drop. The house didn't need me to deliver pizza. It needed someone who knew how to approach doors at night, someone who knew how to stand quietly on porches, someone who could leave without being noticed. It needed a habit, and I had given it hundreds. The rattling stopped. I waited. Seconds passed. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not inside. Moving away. Down the hallway outside my apartment. I didn't chase. I didn't check the peephole. I locked myself in my bedroom and stayed there until morning. When I finally opened the door, there was an envelope on my kitchen counter. I hadn't left the apartment. The envelope was empty except for a receipt. Not from my pizza place, from a different chain, a place across town. At the bottom, printed clean and neat, was a name. Mine. Under it,
A note. New route, same hours. I don't take night jobs anymore. I don't answer unknown numbers. I don't stand too close to doors. But sometimes, usually around 2:12 in the morning, I'll wake up standing in my hallway, keys in my hand, shoes already on, and I'll feel that familiar pull, that quiet certainty that there's somewhere I'm supposed to be, somewhere with the porch light already on, somewhere the mat is lifted just enough to make room for the tip. Because the scariest part of delivery work isn't the houses, it's realizing how easy it is to train someone to walk into the dark, and how hard it is to stop once you've learned the route.